What's good, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and welcome to my Extreme Rules 2016 predictions video. As always, let me know who you think is going to win down in the comments, and I will get to these 8 matches we have in about 48 hours from when this video goes up. We're going to have Extreme Rules 2016, and I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. So, we kick off with the kickoff, and that is Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin in a no disqualifications match. And the whole point of bringing up guys from NXT to the main roster, get that ladder pretty early there. Bringing him up to the main roster, the whole point is that you put him over. I know that so much of this business, or at least, you know, on the main roster, is plagued with 50-50 booking, but holy shit, Baron Corbin going over. Has to, right? And then moves on. Maybe. Anyway, we have the recently announced on SmackDown Texas Tornado match. That means both teams are legal at the same time. It's the Usos versus Gallows and Anderson. And I think, given what is most likely going to happen in the main event, certainly you give this win to Gallows and Anderson. Why in the hell would you bring up a strong team from Japan, pay them a bunch of money, bring them over, and make them lose to the Usos that haven't really done anything interesting in like 5 years? Like, come on. They can jump high and they can super kick, and that's the Usos. They're really not that interesting. They can make the crowd say, "Oh," that's about it. Like, they're boring, to be honest. So yes, I would say the club goes over in that match. Next up, we have Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose in an Asylum match. And if you don't know what an Asylum match is, neither do I. It's a steel cage, and they're hanging shit above the sides of the steel cage. There's like a mop and a bucket, and the son of Mitch, it's a potted plant, and a barbed wire baseball bat. You know, perhaps they'll have the chainsaw from before Mania. They didn't really use at Mania because they couldn't get it started or something like that. So, yeah. Basically, you're going to climb the cage to get the weapons to use those on the guy in the cage. But apparently, you can't win by escaping through the door, or you can't win by getting over the cage, so I guess they're going to have a ref in there too, and it's just going to be a pinfall match. Like, they announced it on Raw, and we're not super clear on what it was outside of having its own music and, you know, lights and whatnot, but it's an Asylum match, and you would imagine this is, you know, if Dean Ambrose called the stipulation that would be in his favor, then Dean Ambrose should win the match. I don't know how much longer Chris Jericho is hanging around. Certainly use him to put over Dean Ambrose, because what the hell else are you doing with Dean Ambrose? Seriously. So, I've heard rumors that they're going to have some house shows were announced where it was going to be the Club versus Reigns and Ambrose and Cena. I'd heard that. That might not happen, but, you know, that's a potential card going forward. Anyway, so yes, Ambrose, because Ambrose, come on. Next up for me is going to be the hardest match to call on this card. It is the Intercontinental Pele Kick title match with Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and The Miz, who is the current IC champion. And like before, man, I called Cesaro on that so hard, and it was not Cesaro. Man, I wanted it to be Cesaro, and it ended up being Zack Ryder. Anyway, yeah, so this one, I'm going to say Sami Zayn. I'm going to say Miz is booked as a beatable champion, and you have the underdog in Sami Zayn. This could continue, you know, the Zayn and Owens thing as an IC feud. I don't know what you do with Cesaro. I don't know what you do with The Miz. I really don't care. But the fury that you could harness from Kevin Owens being so angry that Zayn got the IC belt before, you know, when he wanted it back. not before. When he got his IC title. Uh-oh, he's phenomenal. that to me screams that, okay, give it to Zayn and have Owens just flip his shit. But again, I would love for them to give it to Cesaro because I think he's amazing. Anyway, so yeah, Sami Zayn. Next up, we have The New Day versus the Vaudevillains for the Tag Team, your WWE Tag. You get the idea. This match obviously it feels kind of weird because of the injury to Enzo at Payback, and the feud. Obviously, they only had like 3 weeks, so it's kind of a half-ass build. But as long as the Vaudevillains are just the two Vaudevillains, the New Day, they have not banned Xavier from ringside, so therefore the New Day still has the damn numbers game. They still have the advantage, and they still win the match. I can't imagine any scenario where the Vaudevillains manage to pull this off when essentially you've got 3 guys and 2 guys. Like, I don't see any reason for the New Day to drop the tag team titles to the Vaudevillains. But hey, anything could happen in the WWE. I'm just waiting on Enzo to come back. Get well soon, Enzo. Anyway, the next match here is Rusev versus Kalisto for the United States title. And this one is hard to call because the impending return of John Cena could potentially impact the outcome of this match if they are choosing to include John Cena in ongoing U.S. Open challenges. That would mean you don't want John Cena fighting Kalisto. That doesn't make any sense because they're both faces. Well, mostly. You would want John Cena crushing a very strong heel Rusev. So, wow, on the ladder, holy shit. If that's the direction they're going in, then certainly you would have Rusev beat the crap out of Kalisto, win the U.S. title, look strong for like a week, and then lose to John Cena when he comes back on the 30th. That seems to me like the most logical conclusion here. So I'm going to say Rusev. It's entirely possible that Kalisto could pull it off if the rumors of him having a female manager type... He missed fucking Pele kick. A female manager type character to offset Lana. That could certainly, come into the equation. But as far as we know, on Sunday, it'll be Rusev and Lana and Kalisto. So that gives Rusev the immediate advantage on that stuff. So I say Rusev wins the U.S. title. Next up, let me get a drink here. God damn. 3. No, that wasn't 3. Next up, we have the women's title match, which is a submission match, which features your champion. Where was I? It was the women's championship match, submission match with Charlotte versus Natalya. And the stipulation here is that Ric Flair is banned from ringside. And if he appears as the crazy old man that he is, then Charlotte will forfeit her women's title. And so therefore, ideally he won't show up. Now, personally, I prefer they go the WCW route and just put Ric Flair in a cage and have the cage, like little tiny cage ringside, because we know Ric Flair is not friends with RoboCop, so no one's going to get him out of that cage, and that'd be a great visual. Old man Ric Flair as a cage animal. Anyway, Ric Flair, not there. Now, I've said time and time again that until you separate and split up Charlotte and her dad, she's not going to drop the belt. So, therefore, what does that mean for this match? Because technically, Ric Flair won't be there to cheat, because he is the dirtiest player in the game. Now, they have not said, is Charles Robinson, Lil Nate, is he banned from being the referee of this match? Had they entirely forgotten what happened at Payback, the Chicago Screwjob? Nobody knows. They haven't mentioned it. I don't know. For all we know, it could be Lil Nate. But we're going to assume that it's not. We're going to assume that it is a regular, unbiased official for this match between Natalya and Charlotte. Now, do I think they're going to give the belt to Natalya? No, I do not. Certainly, again, anything could happen. I just don't think they're going to give the belt to Natalya. I think when Charlotte drops that belt, it's going to be to the boss, Sasha Banks. Hopefully it's SummerSlam. So I think that Charlotte retains the belt. I don't know that she wins the match, per se, but I think she definitely retains the belt. You know, whatever shenanigans go on, who knows? But I think at the end of the night, it's gonna be Charlotte. So hopefully she wins the match too. But you know, we'll see if she can stand on her own without creepy Daddy Ric Flair. Main event is not a match that needs much discussion. It is Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. It is Extreme Rules, so we know that the Usos are going to end up being ringside. We know that Gallows and Anderson are going to end up being ringside. And if there's anything that we know, it's that why in the hell would Roman Reigns drop the belt to AJ Styles this soon after he lost it, or if ever, because certainly we've got Seth Rollins returning shortly. We've got John Cena returning shortly. You got Randy Orton returning shortly. There are other options here if you're actually going to have Roman drop the belt. Well, we know that they think Roman is the guy, so therefore, you know, he's going to continue being the guy as the world champion. I think, in the words of Vince McMahon, no chance. That's what you got. I don't think AJ's going to do it. Believe me, I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. I think he does fantastic work. He is, as you might say, phenomenal. But with the current, you know, with the way that they've been and the amount of time they've spent establishing Roman Reigns, love him or hate him, etc., and most fans are going to fucking boo him, and they're going to be in New Jersey, so that's going to be fun. Yeah, I just think, you know, they put over Roman, the fans boo, they might mess with the audio. That's my prediction. They're going to mess with the audio again if the fans are really just shitting all over him. Because they can't say, oh, well, it's Canada, it's Bizarro Land. No, we're here in fucking New Jersey, and you're going to get a lot of fans from Philly, a lot of fans from New York, and they don't like Roman Reigns. So as we've seen since Mania, WWE does not give a shit. They're going to do what they want, and maybe at some point, people will start to like him, maybe. I don't think that point's going to be this Sunday, but I expect that match to be awesome, because their last match was awesome, so that's the end of that chapter. Anyway, that is my Extreme Rules 2016 predictions. Let me know what you thought. I'm Attack Slug, more videos every day here on this channel. Check them out. And I'll see you next time, right here on this channel. In the mo!